my first memory of loving music happened so early. We would always go to the beach in the summer, and I would run from blanket to blanket, from family to family, and just sing.
Yay, Taylor!
Whoa! I got my first guitar when I was 8 or 9 years old. I couldn't motivate myself to learn because my fingers were too small. I always had the guitar around and had it in the corner. And when I was about 12, this magical twist of fate, the guy who my parents had hired to come fix my computer, I'm doing my homework, and he looks over and sees the guitar in the corner, and he was like, "Do you play guitar?" And I said, "Oh, no, I tried, but no." He said, "Do you want me to teach you a few chords?" And I was like, "Yeah, yes." That was that. I was just relentless about wanting to play all the time. I was songwriting for all of my free time after that. I think the first full song that I ever wrote was called Lucky You, and it was about this girl who dares to be different.
At that time, that was sort of, describing herself.
I got teased a lot, and I got made fun of a lot, and I, went through periods of time where I didn't have friends.
Because all the other little girls were going to sleepovers and playing soccer, and Taylor wanted to sing on a stage, and that was a little bit different.
And I stood there in the middle of the giant basketball arena, and with my little sparkly American flag shirt and my white pants and my red headband. I was very patriotic looking. I don't think I had ever been that nervous in my life.
Once again, Taylor Swift.
They would do a write-up in the local paper, causing a not-so-fun day for me the next day at school.
My worst time of the day was when I went to go pick up Taylor at school, and I would know that things maybe hadn't been so great that day at school, and so I knew I was going to hear whatever happened. And so that was tough as a mom to hear the ostracizing that went through, literally the shunning that would take place at school, where she would sit down at a table with her lunch tray and everyone would move. As a parent, there's nothing more painful than hearing that your child is in pain. You'll take any bullet for them, but you realize that this is also something that they have to go through.
So that's when I got it in my mind that there was this magical place called Nashville where dreams come true, and Faith Hill got discovered, and I thought to myself, Nashville? Well, I've got to go there. I begged my parents for, I think, a solid year. Please, can we take a trip to Nashville? Just nonstop. I want to go to Nashville, just relentlessly.
It was all she talked about. So on spring break, we went to Nashville to go check it out.
Everyone you meet in Nashville has the same dream, and a lot of them wanted to be exactly what I wanted to be, which was an artist, and want to be on the stage in front of a lot of people.
Taylor would, say, "That's Mercury Records, pull over. I need to run my demo CD."
I'd get out and I'd run up to the door. "Hi, I'm Taylor. I'm 11. I want a record deal. If you could give me a call, that would be awesome." And I knew that I had to figure out some way to be different, some way to get better and have more to offer. Music was something that was so necessary for me to be happy. I would play for hours and hours until my fingers were bleeding.
She never put it down. She wouldn't put it down. We'd have to literally say to her, "All right, put the guitar down, come to dinner, then you can go right back and play." But it became a matter of forcing her to put it down at that point.
I just fell in love with it.
We decided to move to Nashville when Taylor had actually been offered a development deal. At that point, we knew we weren't just proud parents, and that maybe we should put her in the area where she could make the most of it.
When I was 13, I landed a meeting with a record label in town, RCA. They gave me a development deal, which is basically like, "We believe in you, kind of. We're gonna watch you." It's not like you're making an album now.
Taylor and I would go in there sometimes once a week with new songs that she had written. They would look at us and say, well, it's getting a little closer. They weren't saying, yes, that's a great song, let's put it on a record.
At the end of the year, they had a chance to either sign me or watch me for another year without commitment.
They looked at us and said, you know what, we're not ready to offer a record deal.
I did something that you don't usually do in Nashville when you have an in with a record label. I walked away because I had a feeling that I was not going to be able to record my own music that I'd written.
Looked at her sort of panic-stricken, like, this is a major record label. You don't get that every day. Are you sure you want to walk away from this? And she said, absolutely.
I had this showcase at the Bluebird Cafe, ironically the place where Faith Hill got discovered. And I played my guitar and sang a bunch of songs that I'd written. There was one guy in the audience named Scott Borchetta. So he came up to me after the show and he said, I want you on my record label, and I want you to write all your own music. And I was so excited. And I get a call from him later that week and he goes, hey, so good news is I want you on my record label. The bad news is that I don't actually have a record label yet. Well, he explained to me that he doesn't have a building, he doesn't have a name for it. He just has this dream that he wants to do it. And so he says, will you just please wait for me? And for some reason, I was willing to wait for that.
Because she believed in the person who was going to be running that record label, and he really believed in her.
I knew that if I could be a part of building something from the ground up, of being the first artist on a brand new record label, that would be okay with me as long as I could do something really adventurous and bold and new. So I signed my record deal with Scott Borchetta, and I was making an album full of songs that I had written by myself. This little red thing, this red guy is the best windscreen you got, so they won't hear that. It's awesome. There was no inclination that this was gonna work out, but we really believed in it. Putting out my first single was just such a cool experience because I just didn't know what was going to happen. I remember putting the physical CD singles into envelopes to mail out to radio with my mom. I got to go on radio tour. And you hear tour, you think tour bus? No, rental car, Taurus, me in the back seat.
Hi, baby.
How's it going?
How are you?
I'm doing wonderful. I brought you cookies.
Sure did. Look at that.
Going from radio station to radio station to radio station, and every time I would go into a new radio station, I would play in the conference room for a couple of DJs, and I would like beg them to put me on the air, and it worked. My album sold 39,000 in the first week, and then over time it started to sell like this. Then something really crazy started to happen. I was opening up for every single country headliner imaginable. I was opening up for Brad Paisley, George Strait, Kenny Chesney, Tim McGraw, like all these people I'd always wanted to open up shows for. I was a nervous wreck. I'd rehearsed nonstop over and over again, but I loved it. Those were some of my favorite times.
I wanna be your A-team. I wanna be your